What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another special bonus episode on a Wednesday. That means it's another comic book creators interview where I have this week, I'm fortunate enough to be with, he has a new book coming out in the end of July called Crash and Troy. And then what is it? He has a books come out you can go check out through Mad Cave, like DRYFOOT and all that stuff, but just more give it up for Jarred Luján. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Not too bad. I mean, it's always pretty good. I'm always happy to have talk to a author and stuff. So my day's already been pretty good thanks to you. How is it? What is it? What would you say? Let's get right into it in the sense of let's hear a little bit about yourself. Yeah.
So I'm a writer, obviously. I'm from Texas, which is something that I always open interviews with, because the Texan ego is very much a real thing. But yeah, I've been writing comics for 5 years, reading them for significantly longer, and I like books. I like Wu Tang Clan, and that's about it.
Right. That's what excuse me, how would I word it? What was your books that kind of hooked you into the whole comic book genre? What was some of your favorites?
Historically, some of my favorites are like I really am a big fan of Starlin's Infinity Gauntlet. Um, that's probably one of my all-time favorite books. Just because it's really like that. It's the peak ridiculousness of comics. It's this sort of LSD reality challenging whole concept. It's just really, really fun. It's something that I really, really like reading. Uh, but yeah, I've been in and out of comics for like 15 years now. So a lot of the bigger books to me are more contemporary ones, but like I do like These Savage Shores was a really big and important book to me. Submerged was as well. Um, I was a really big fan of We Can Never Go Home and The Four Kids Walk Into a Bank, and books like that. You know, I like my I like really grounded books or books that just commit to the ridiculousness and just go all the way, rev it up to 11. And so, yeah, but those are the I think the East of West. Oh, East of West is so good, so good. It's incredible. It's a monument to the medium. But anyway,
I gotta check some. I know about the Savage Shores because isn't that the Rom V?
yeah.
Okay. Yep. All right. Now I'm getting your ballpark of an understanding. And then also just more for a teaser for later. Judging by Crash and Troy, you do go up to 11 with the ridiculousness and some beefcakes. But yeah. But exactly. So you've been in writing for about 5 years for comics, and then what was your opportunity? Like, what was the door that opened up for that to get you in?
Yeah. Like I said, I've been writing since 2016. I was mainly doing short comics, and then I would drop them on Twitter, make them free to download. For a while, I had them on my website. You could just go to my website and download them. After in 2018, Mad Cave Studios had a talent search, and it was their first one, and I entered and I lost. And then in 2019, they had the second one, and I won that one. And so I got to do DRYFOOT with them, and we after DRYFOOT came out, fortunately had a lot of doors open up for my career, and I was able to sell Crash and Troy, and we were able to launch off that, and then I've had I feel like I've done a dozen anthologies this year that have all been great, super fun, and but it was all goes back to Mad Cave's talent search. It was even though DRYFOOT came out during the peak of, like, I think the Diamond shutdown had just ended when it went into previews. It's so hard. It was so difficult selling that book to retailers, and no one knew what was going on. Everybody was trying to figure out with the economy and whether or not they could safely open their doors. So even with all of that, I'm fortunate enough to where we were able to get a really good positive response and go forward.
With just so touch base on that, like you're talking about the diamond thing. Was that like a COVID-19 thing that stopped,
Yeah.
or okay, just making sure because I can't remember. I hear like some stories like, yeah, people are having trouble with diamond and this and that, but no, it was just about the coronavirus stuff. Okay, and then what is it? I did get to read your little like you have like a free comic on your website, and I see that
Hmm.
you obviously I'm assuming that's older because I'm going to say that I see that for Crash and Troy, you're back with the artist of that one, Kyler.
Yeah, yeah, Kyler Clotfelter,
Yeah, that I was going to say, huh? That guy looks beefy, just like the other ones.
yeah.
Oh, that's why. Okay, that connects the dots. How'd you guys meet?
So I'm gonna have to tell Kyler that you recognize his art because of the beefy guys. That's Kyler's like bread and butter. Um, but Kyler, I met him on Twitter. Uh, I had actually Crash and Troy. Funny enough, was the first project he and I worked on together. Uh, it was back, man. It was back in 2019. I had commissioned him to work on the book or on the pitch pages. So we did like 6 pages. Um, didn't get it picked up at the time, so we kind of just let it go. And then we did another pitch that was like a mecha kaiju story, and that's actually the universe that comic that you read, Sun's Legacy, is set in. It's set in that sort of universe. But yeah, we made A Son's Legacy was made in like late 2019, early 2020, because we were taking it around to show editors and stuff the book and like what we were kind of pitching as a proof of concept to C2E2, as a matter of fact.
Okay,
So yeah, he and I met there in person for the first time in 2020 or 2019. I'm sorry. No, it's 2020. 2020. Sorry, it's been like a dozen years,
it's
but
been yeah. This
yeah,
quarantine shit has made us all feel like we've been doing it for 5 years, just being in LA.
yeah.
No,
So
that's funny about the idea of I'm also curious is what is it what caught my eye with you with Twitter was like you just one of your tweets was like you kind of opened up. You're talking about like your bat like not I don't want to say like that, but you know battles with depression, and you also did like this, and also like you hooked the idea of Crash and Troy with Meryl Streep, but like the idea of um uh has this been like part of your outlook, or how would you describe dealing with your depression and becoming like a writer for comics?
uh yeah, it's sort of an outlet. I think that I'm happiest when I'm working on something. And like I'm just kind of a busybody in a lot of ways. I don't like uh say I really have a hard time just like sitting still. I'm always doing something. And so like I've worked like 2 jobs since I was 18 in some capacity, you know. And that's so like in that way it is. I don't really I try to write out things that are really personal to me. Crash and Troy, as a matter of fact, Crash has a some of one of the hearts of the book is that it deals with anger and how we sort of idealize that sometimes, and that's one of the things that I had a problem with previously in my life, and Crash and Troy is kind of me talking about that in a lesser way, or in a like indirectly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like to me, it's all about managing. You know, like if I can't write today because I'm not feeling it, I don't. It's not in terms of like I have friends who tell me that they're worried about deadlines because comics is a really hard industry to. You have monthly comics, you've got to be on the ball. But I'm pretty good about balancing my time. I'm pretty good about being ahead of schedule. So, and I'm really diligent about, especially this year, I've been really diligent about scheduling. Uh, so whenever it was like, okay, if I'm not feeling it today, then okay, I've just got to make up the time tomorrow. I've just got to figure it out tomorrow. Cause I can't, I'm not going to force myself to do it. It's just going to make it worse. But, it has been, creativity in general is a good outlet, but like when I'm feeling any kind of way, I'm really just kind of try and take the night, turn my brain off, play video games, read a book, something that I can sort of coast through. I'm really big into playing games that I've played before. Like I'm just having fun. I'm just good at it, and so I can just sit there and you know um, play through something that I'm not expecting any twists or turns. Just have it. But that for me, it's like creativity obviously is an outlet, but it's when it comes to depression and anxiety when I'm writing, it's really a matter of managing it. Like okay, I've just gotta sit down and I'll figure it out tomorrow. I'll figure out how I'm going to make up the time tomorrow. I'll write the pages tomorrow, something like that.
Right. No, just so you know, also, so you don't feel like I threw you under the bus for that answer. Because also, I think of course, I'll be more honest. Like, I'm not diagnosed, but I deal with depression too and all that stuff. And this last year, 2020, it gave me like a very heavy feeling of that. I think maybe because of like not having, a job or whatever, you know what I mean, with all the whole lockdowns and shit. But just more, it just sparked me to see somebody using as an out, not using like that, but like the idea of like you found the positivity to get into like, you got really good opportunities. You had DRYFOOT during the pandemic. You've been doing this, and also you've gone with the handling the depression, anxiety feelings. You know how your body is, because when you were describing even like just like there could be deadlines, but you can be so chill still because you know that you're going to do it like, you know your body, all that stuff. And I really appreciate hearing that. And also thanks for, opening up about that. That's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not like I'm pretty big. I'm a pretty big advocate in terms of mental health. Like I don't mind talking about those things at all. But like that's to me is people make I when I'm working on stuff, I'm good. Like I'm like I said, I'm a busybody. But the second that it feels like I'm forcing myself to do it, because I'm feeling some kind of way, I usually take the brakes off and figure something else out, do something else, because it's not worth making myself worse. It's not worth. I'm not going to be a good writer if I'm feeling like shit and I'm forcing myself to put a page out. It's not something that an editor is going to appreciate. It's not something that's going to it's not going to be good work. And even more importantly, I'm just going to feel worse and it's going to spiral.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to normalize that for people, is that if you're feeling some kind of way, then you should, and you don't have to be creative 24/7. To me, it's a matter of time management. Just make sure you're ahead of your deadlines, because I know I'm going to feel some kind of way, but yeah, and if not, deadlines are comics is not the most important thing in the world. If you're feeling bad and you're going to miss a deadline, it's better to email your editor and say so than anything, because it's not the most important thing in the world.
No, that's good to know, because also like just more to wrap this up with the bow about that topic. Like I understand the idea of like if you're going to push yourself to write, you're just going to then make another domino for the effect of like you're not going to feel good about that paper anyway. Even if it was good, you'd be like,
no,
there's no way it's not going to be good, blah, blah, blah. But no. And it's really cool. I mean, it's just really good, because also this is another little trick of these bonus pods I've been teasing all this time, and hopefully I'll get it to get recorded tomorrow. I've been writing down outlays of my own little comic idea. And I'm having someone coming on like just to more hear about what are the other parts of like the comic script you have to remember as someone who's never wrote before. And like, do I have to worry about everything? Do I have to worry about like the background? Do I have to worry about does this wall say something to this wall? You know what I'm saying? No. And so it's good to hear, like, obviously just also the way you do it and the way of other people's have done it. It's been really, a little bit of a meta of how I've been doing these little interviews. So yeah, we'll get into a better topic right now, because I'm ready for a hot take from you of,
okay,
the Wu Tang Clan. Like you said.
There's no
What?
such thing as a hot take with Wu Tang Clan.
Oh, I was hoping to hear. Okay, then didn't know if you had anybody ever gave you crap about it. I was gonna say, give me a hot take of your feelings of the Wu Tang Clan, either good or bad. And then, of course, your favorite song and favorite album.
Okay, so my hottest take, I lied because then I realized I do have a hot take. I did an interview with the Word Bros and I thought they were gonna kick me off. I'm not crazy about Old Dirty Bastard's solo albums. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I to don't I'm not I respect his albums. I like them fine, but I don't want to listen to a full album of the way ODB raps. Um, he's got a real sing-songy style, and it's just not something that like I want to listen to for 40 minutes into an hour, you know.
Right.
And I don't think I respect that it's chaotic. I respect what he's doing. I respect his legacy, but to me, ODB is always best on Wu-Tang albums because he comes in, he drops a chaotic verse, I'm into it, and then he's gone. But I think that's like my hottest take. I think people get really upset in Wu-Tang Clan circles then when I say that.
I'm hoping this will pop up, and I'm gonna put this as the clip about Wu Tangs. Maybe we'll get like Wu Tang subreddits or something. We'll talk about this guy's crazy, but no,
Oh yeah,
I'm without being such a real hardcore Wu Tang fan. Like I could see you say like, yeah, ODB is definitely in my eyes as an outsider looking in. I like Shimmy Shimmy Ya, but like also like I'm not looking for the whole album. You know, he might be a
yeah.
good single guy, but all right, what's the best album?
Um, the best album is Enter the Wu-Tang Clan, right? The 36 Chambers. It's definitely the best. By miles, you know. There and like I think you could probably rank my Wu-Tang Clan albums by the year. My favorite ones, you know, Enter the Wu-Tang Clan, and then by the year is how we do the rest, you know.
Do you think
I
they
think
got
as
worse going the years on?
I don't want to say worse. I like them less. I don't like them as much as the one the year before.
Okay.
Uh, like because I don't think the Wu Tang Clan has together made an album that I just didn't like, that I just didn't vibe with. There's been solo albums that I was like, uh, which is fine, and but yeah, I think the best album is Enter the 36 Chambers. Uh, but it's really, I mean, but the most recent stuff has really dope songs on it. It's just like not on the same level. Uh, I would chop off my left hand to hear Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, which is the secret Wu Tang Clan album that nobody's gonna ever hear probably, uh, because it got
That's the one with the one album that was bought by the
yeah
one guy. Okay.
yeah I bought it. I bought a book about it and read the sort of the story of how that album came into existence, and it sort of seems like the universal opinion from the people who worked on the album to the people who have actually heard it, which is literally like I think like a handful of people that we know have heard it, is that it sounds like Enter the 36 or Enter the Wu Tang Clan. So it sounds like their best album in my opinion, and I think that's something that I really like, really want to hear, because I mean, we know Cher is on like 2 songs, you know, but I would love to hear that album, but I'm never going to, so I don't think about it.
What is your all right, we'll leave it off on who is the best or the strongest member? However you want to look at it. What's the best member of the Wu-Tang Clan?
Ghostface,
Ghostface. There you go.
Ghostface Killer. I don't think Ghostface like by himself has a pretty impressive discography. Um, and if you look at I think Ghostface is probably my favorite rapper of all time. Um, but you look at something like Supreme Clientele, and you look at 12 Reasons to Die, Fish Scale, all albums that are incredible. And those are like the ones that I think are monuments in his career. Um, all of them do something differently. And then he still has albums like Iron Man and Apollo Kids and Wallaby Champ. Uh, he did make Bulletproof Wallets, which is sort of its own problem because Bulletproof Wallets is pretty bad. But uh, that was Ghost going R&B. He was experimenting, and that's cool, but it's a bad album. Uh, but he's got like I was listening to Apollo Kids. I've been listening to Apollo Kids for like a month, and I was like, God, this album is so good. Like Purified Thoughts, In the Park, Troublemakers, and it's just a banger on each one. And it's so good. And it's some of his best rapping. But yeah, it just blows me away because like that's not even one of his top best albums. It's just another one because he's everything he does is amazing. Yeah, I think like I really love RZA. The Bobby Digital stuff wasn't like my biggest joint, but like RZA, to be fair, masterminded the whole creation of the Wu Tang Clan. So props to RZA. I love RZA, but I really do think Ghostface is sort of the if I had to pick one, it would be Ghost. And I think, as a matter of fact, Ghostface is in charge of the next Wu Tang Clan album if there is ever going to be one. Uh, RZA does like 1,000 things. He's doing meditation movies. He's doing soundtracks in Hollywood. He directs movies, and so I think I read somewhere that Ghost is responsible for getting the clan back together if they're ever going to do another album, which I don't think they're going to. But
there's a little discussion around my circle. I've heard that about just. I didn't know about all that stuff about like who would be the one setting up if they do another album, but the idea of RZA is probably the most behind the scenes person who is the most has the best career after the Wu, and then probably after that I would say Method Man for like careers after, like for not about music, but like just about even like movies or even like diversifying their bonds, But that's why we're here. Wu-Tang's for the children. Wu-Tang is for the culture.
yeah. Meth definitely. I think Meth has the most like public facing success post or like outside of the Wu-Tang Clan, but music wise, he's lucky to be in the top 5. Like I think RZA stuff is a dope. Ghost, obviously, I think is making the best music solo. But he's still like Raekwon. You still got Jizza. Like, Meth had to go into acting, not to be that guy, but it was kind of like, okay, you've got to pivot because you're still gonna be the guy who is like number 6 or 7 out of 9. Like you gotta go. Yeah. You got to figure something else out. Yeah.
They're rushing. And I'm not trying to. Like, even RZA was able to set up a new ice cream truck fucking too. I'm like, God dang.
Yeah. RZA, and that was like over a night. RZA was like, oh, I guess I gotta do this,
But yeah, no. Again, Wu-Tang for the culture, but then also we'll get back into you, my friend. Let's hear about of course your book, Crash and Troy.
Yeah, Crash and Troy is a 4-issue miniseries. It's gonna be it's big and bright and colorful. It's really, really funny. I'm really bummed that we can't share issue number 2 yet because issue 2 has some of my favorite jokes. But it's about Crash Ballard. Crash is a human mutant, and this is so Crash and Troy set super far in the future. Crash is a mutant, and he as Earth has mutants all quarantined. They're not allowed to be among the populace, and he ditched Earth when he was 13. And so he's been living in the wild frontier of space for about 10, 15 years when we pick up on where he is. And he's made best friends with Troy 3.0. And Troy 3.0 is a human consciousness that has been converted into software. So he can be a computer. He can change into different various robot bodies. And together they sort of work as mercenaries. And so it's about them kind of, they do a job with a prison break, and it turns out to be a lot more trouble than they expected it to be. And it takes them on this really wild, across the stars sort of mission to try and get the guy back. But yeah, it's real funny, really action packed, and Kyler had a lot of fun drawing really beefy dudes. So
No, I obviously got to read it. And I did enjoy it, and then I did when you just described it just now. I'm like, it is big, bright, and beautiful. And I thought, I was like, after finding this out today, I'm like, wow, it looks really good, knowing that the colorist is colorblind for red and green.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's more of just a joke if he ever hears this, so he can hear it. But no, it's really well done. Like he said, it's the guys are in very beefcake heaven in the sense of their size. One thing I had to also give you applaud to is like there are jokes, but I'm just more saying as a behind the veil person, like sometimes jokes in comics hit and miss for me, but the Crash and Troy ones hit really well. I even like the offhand. I don't think it's real a spoiler, but there's a part when like the people that catch them have their rap sheet, and like Troy has I think it was Troy's, or maybe it was either one. One of them had on their like crimes that they did was wearing a brown belt with black shoes. I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny because of
that one wasn't even me. That one was Kyler. Kyler wrote that one in there. But yeah, it's really funny.
Yes, and then the idea, like you said, because obviously we're not going to try to spoil it since we got still got some time for the book to come out. But no, it has a very interesting and cool meaning of like how do you meet the duo in like that more of a, I don't want to put it into a label, but the Guardians of the Galaxy like Prison Break style. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that, and also I do like the idea of snipping, like how you said about the mutants. You don't hear that until like midway through of like the mutants are basically have no rights on Earth anymore or something. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really, I do like your writing style. It is a very fun book, and also now knowing, because I wasn't confidently sure how many books or how many issues there were, but you know, I think it'll be a really good 4-issue fun ride. I'm assuming if it sells good, of course we can always get volume 2 or something. I won't lie, I have not heard of your publisher Action Labs Danger Zone.
Yeah,
where do they come from?
Yeah, so I think they're based out of Pittsburgh, but they're a small indie publisher. But they've done some pretty good work. They've gotten a lot of books, but and good books that I've read while like promotions and doing stuff like that. But you know, I think Crash and Troy is the right spot for them. They do a lot of licensed stuff, like with like horror movies and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But some of their books are real. They do parody books too, and I thought that's might be why Crash and Troy landed, because Crash and Troy is kind of a joke in and of itself, and so yeah, I thought that might be it. But yeah, it's Action Lab Danger Zone, and we're the mature version of Action Lab's publishing line, and
okay.
yeah. So, but like, it's not like Crash and Troy doesn't have like nudity or anything like that. It's just there's gonna be some action, there's some language, but it's a yeah. They've been pretty cool to work with, and yeah. I mean, obviously, I think Crash and Troy is like 4 years old at this point. And I had a sequel written whenever we pitched it the first time back in 2019. And no, it was 18. It was 18. And so we have something to work on if that's the path that we choose to do. But yeah, so it'd be fun.
Yes, I've come to terms with that with listening to the indie creators. We have how it matters on, of course, sales, but of course there are a lot more opportunities. There's even a fan base that we can go to Kickstarter and all that stuff, because I've chatted with other people since. I also know that you you just had a Kickstarter either finished up or on with Twin Blade?
Yeah, we just finished Twin Blades Kickstarter. Well, I mean, I don't even. I have no conception of time anymore. I feel like it's been 3 weeks to a month. Um, but yeah, we wrapped that. We just finished inks on the Twin Blades. Kickstarter is probably the future of comics, to tell you the truth. Um, we, with especially with all the stuff going on with Diamond, um, but like also, you know, I think comics as an industry is doing a really bad job of recruiting new talent, and I think Kickstarter is a really big. That Kickstarter is a huge red flag of that, because you have books on there that are dynamite. They're incredible books. I'm not talking about Twin Blades. Twin Blades is good,
Yeah.
but I'm not gassing myself up like that. But um, so many incredible books that have these really really religious followings. I don't know if you know Fellhound, but she's a Canadian artist, writer and artist who did a book called Commander Rao, and Commander Rao has one of the most intense indie followings I've ever seen. People like religiously swear by that book. Um, Frank at Home on the Farm, which is coming out through Scout Comics right now, was written by my buddy Jordan Thomas. That was on Kickstarter before Scout ever picked it up. Uh, 20 Fists, which is coming out through Source Point Press, which is it was written by my buddy Frankie White.
That's in my shopping cart right now. I was gonna buy it through Comixology, the first 2 issues.
Yeah, it's great. But that was also on Kickstarter beforehand. Dauntless, Frankie also just had a book come out from Dauntless, Project Starless Daydream, which he also did on Kickstarter. Like just the caliber of books on there is a really concerning to me, because comics is really hard to break into, and it's really hard to stay in, and to see work like that getting done, and people just saying I don't want to like bother with that whole process. I'd rather just do it this way so that I can make some money off of it and not work myself poor, is pretty significant. But yeah, I love Kickstarter. I have 2 more planned, one this year, one next year, but I might hang out there for a while, to tell you the truth.
Hey,
I don't know.
If it works, it works. Because also it helps with this thing. We just had on the show Andrew Clemson, who obviously is doing Damsel from Distress on Kickstarter, and he came on and enlightened what we've already been now discussed on here with like Kickstarter is like the new local comic shop, in the sense of course you can go by how many backers people have, and also see their rap sheet of, like, how they are on Kickstarter, if they follow through with everything and all that stuff. But the idea of, I'm more interested in that, without of course ruining money or anything for you. Like, so how does that work with Kickstarter? So you can go to Kickstarter, fund it, but then coincidentally, Scout Comics has definitely been a very advocate person. I've heard that their publishing does go to Kickstarter books and go like, hey, can we publish that like worldwide or something for you? So how does that work?
So yeah, funny enough, Twin Blades I've been approached about publishing Twin Blades at another level, that we're waiting until it's completed, and we're looking at getting a new cover, so that way if you back the book, you still get Julio's cover, and then you have another reason to go buy it, because we're getting some really dope artists that might be doing covers for it. So I'm trying to get my first choice locked down right now, as a matter of fact. But yeah, so like Twin Blades, I funded the whole book out of pocket. I took it to Kickstarter just hoping to make enough to cover the printing costs. And the printing costs was like a 3,500. It was 2,500 for printing, and then I added another 1,000 for shipping and to incidentals, just in case things. And we ended up doing, I think we got 339 backers, and we got I think it was like $2,000 extra, like 5,500 is where we ended up at. So, we haven't printed the book yet. I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch, but it looks like I'm going to break even, which is not bad. for my first Kickstarter.
Right.
But it's really cool in that we own the IP. So I can go to Scout or Black Box or any of the people that are taking that, and I can be like, hey, I have a one shot that already has a proof of concept, and they'll just publish it for distribution. I think Scout is they want half of the film or TV rights, something like that.
Okay.
So that's what they're picking up sales, and then they're also trying to get that. But that would be fine. I've heard pretty positive things about Scout.
Yeah.
So Source Point would be the other one I think that we're looking at. But yeah, and that would be dope because that's just double dipping. If I break even on Twin Blades and then I also submit it and get it published, then that's profit. That would be cool.
Yes. So okay, now that also it clears my eyes for that, because like the idea of like I understand Kickstarter, I'm like somewhere involves like there's money being spent, but also it's already being spent on things for that book. But then you can go towards a publisher and just do like a more improved worldwide distribution, which then obviously is money back. So it's a lot of money forward, and then not like that, but hopefully we break even. Hopefully we make a little bit of profit. Okay.
In indie comics, breaking even is pretty incredible. That's I don't think anybody on indie level is looking to make money on comics. I think all of us are just kind of looking to break even and make the money back. Because it's not like, whenever you get to the higher levels of comics, that's where the money's at. That any money you're going to make in comics is going to be with the big five publishers. So if you're not doing that, you're just kind of hoping to break even, which is stupid. And another problem with I think with the industry, whenever you look at like other entertainment industries, like the book market is completely different from comics. But it is, if you love doing it, that's just kind of the reality you have to accept.
Right. No, and then also if you want, you don't have to, but like if you want to elaborate, because I'd like to hear that thought of like you wish to hear like the bigger areas like more spread their wings onto other writers. I know you said it because of course there are perfect examples on Kickstarter, but like is it because of, I could be wrong, also I don't know if you know, but like okay, we'll just say it out there, like DC
Mm-hmm.
now is running a lot smaller amount of books since Infinite Frontier, and let's just be more real. There is about, if there's 30, let's say they do 32 issues, 7 of them are in the same Bat family.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying those books are bad, but the idea of it then cuts out the idea of like I don't see why are they not so they're so scared of taking risks. Like why don't we have like a, not saying, I don't even know, like would you like to write Blue Beetle? You know what I mean? Why don't they have like a Blue Beetle with like a risque quote unquote writer of like someone new, just give them a chance?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation, and they're going to operate like one. And what they want is someone who can not necessarily prove that they can write. And I'm not saying that people who work for DC can't write. Many of them are the best writers working.
Yeah.
But they want someone who can prove that they can sell. I think DC and Marvel are both really interested in people outside of comics coming in to write.
Hence like John Ridley has done the next Batman, and also now just got the Black Panther spot. But continue.
Yeah, because they want to bring in people. If you're a fan of John Ridley, you might pick up Batman, and you might pick up his Black Panther. Same thing happened with Ta-Nehisi Coates. They were trying to bring people in, and both of those guys, fantastic writers. But they're trying to bring in people, spark interest in what they're doing, and sell books. And so, I think what I'd like to see from the big two is more anthology stories and bringing in newer writers there, because if you want to build your stable, and then okay, you can give, you know, give someone like I mean, to Marvel's credit, they just did Women of Marvel,
Yes.
which had a bunch of my friends in it, and that was fantastic. It was really cool. But to me, that's how you develop your own talent for the future. Is you use books you can sell. You know, Women of Marvel is going to sell hundreds of thousands of units, and people pick up the book, they read it, they find someone whose art they like, they find someone who wrote a story they really like, and that's something that's kind of feeding your own stock. You know, at some point, you know, someone like Nadia Shamas or Skylar Partridge are going to blow up in a big way, and you already helped build that. You know, and so it just seems kind of odd to me that we don't see that as often. But I think I'd love to see the big two get newer writers, but I understand that it's a business and that's how they need to operate it, you know. But I really think that doing anthology stories more regularly, you know, even if it was just annually, I think Marvel's got a weird thing where I don't remember what their thing is. It's like the Young Guns maybe, and then it's writers and it was artists that have already been working for them for several years,
Oh,
and so I would like to see them do, instead of doing that, do writers and people that they like that maybe they don't have a book for or something like that to write a story and sort of build your own stock for the future.
I mean, yeah, I think you nailed it on the head because also for listeners who are not, don't know everything, at least for what you're saying, Marvel is doing like the Women of Marvel. They also, I believe the Marvels, they have little like 5 issues coming out, like the Marvels. I think those are little short stories. And then at least for DC wise, they just had the AAPI like
Mm-hmm.
Heritage book, and then they also have like a Pride book coming out this June too, as well. I think as well as Marvel does too, with especially with like the other United States of Captain America. I
Right.
digress, but no, I am curious because of uh I have now come to terms that comic books is definitely like the original YouTube creator of like fan base. You just need a fan base, and then they'll love you, so you can create more of your books however you want. Because like in particular of like this that Skylar Partridge, the Resident is awesome. That's on Vault. But hey, and then also I follow, of course, you, and then I follow now Ron V, and that man has 8 books a month through
Yeah.
different, and then he just busting his ass for this. It's, you know, just the idea. There are people getting their names out there that have been working with DC a little bit long, like Ram has, but they've been able to spawn off onto bigger teams and stuff, which is I'm really happy to see. But anyway, I get off that note, the idea of I hope, of course, I hope Crash and Troy comes out, uh, you know, already running down the highway, being all really good through Action Labs. And of course, you can pre-order right now. Is the I'm learning new terms. Is the FOC still available? Like, can we
Oh
still?
yeah.
Okay.
We got like a month until FOC, so there's plenty of time to still pre-order it and make sure you get a copy.
Is all right. And then, of course, is there any ending things you want to say about it? And then, of course, tell everybody where we can find you and all that fun jazz.
Yeah, so I think you Crash and Troy is really good. It's really pretty. Even if you open it and you think, man, this guy sucks at writing comics, it's still something nice to look at. And so you should give it a chance. Then this thing is going to be nuts. We really do a lot of world building in issue number one, kind of get you a little bit of a history of what's going on. But once we hit issue two, we just kick it out of drive. It's just we break the transmission. We're just going. Um, so I really hope everybody buys number one. Like I said, number two has some of my favorite jokes, but it's also just packed to the rim with craziness. Um, but yeah, you can find me. I'm most active on Twitter at Jarred Luján, JarredLujan. I have the same handle on Instagram that I'm not as frequent on, but I'm on there regularly. Um, Yeah, and then you can go to my website, Lujan Writes, writes like writing .com, and you can find a free comic that Mike had mentioned earlier. You can also look at and see all the stuff that I've been in. I have all my anthologies. I have a link to buy DRYFOOT if you can't get it from your local comic shop. So, but yeah, there's a lot of, and I gotta plug my newsletter. I have a newsletter that if you sign up for, you can find it on my website. If you sign up for my newsletter, it's once a month. It goes out the first of every month. It's full of stuff that I'm working on. The people who subscribed to my newsletter got the first 6 pages of Crash and Troy. In on the 1st of April, they got to read the first 6 pages, and I fill it with sneak stuff that I'm doing. You get a sneak peeks at art that I'm working on. I think last month, like I said, we did 6 pages of Crash and Troy, and I talked about my next Kickstarter in September, and nobody else has it. I haven't talked about it anywhere else. So lots of good secret stuff. So sign up for the newsletter. I'm almost at 100 subscribers. So
let's get it up there. Yeah, let's get it up there. No, and then of course he's modest. I know that's a depression cue. I talk that same way about myself. No, he writes pretty good. He writes really good. Don't let him be modest on himself. No. But no, thank you. And of course don't worry. Everything you basically just said, even links, I'll put links out for Midtown Comics because that was a really easy one to pre-order the issue. If you don't have a local comic store that you can pre-order right now and still, you know what I mean? I'll have links for Crash and Troy, all that stuff in the description of the show. But yeah, thank you very much, Jarred, coming on. And then, please go pick up Crash and Troy at the end of July. It's a fun ride. It's only, again, you get a full story in 4 issues. You can't beat that. Well, exactly. And then, and then, of course, like we say at the end of every show, be good to each other and peace. Wu Tang forever.
Forever.